Hello everyone and welcome out to the stream. This is going to be some challenger level solo queue and we have some pretty good teams today. We've obligatorily named them the cops and the robbers since saying red and blue can get a little bit tiring. But if we check, we can see some pretty big names here on both teams. On the cops in the middle we have Chapanya, who is the smurf of someone who's better known as Shifter, the mid laner for Team Coast. And in the jungle, Complexity Support Daddy, formerly Evaniscus of Team Dad Slammer, Skyline, Velocity, everything. In the top lane, we have Raiden7 as well, as made on the stream several times before on his favorite champion, Mundo. He is essentially the best. Oh, wow. And we might have an invade here from a familiar name in most little households, Meteos. Going in for the invade here from the robbers. And not really too surprising that the robbers would come here for a little bit of a home invasion. We'll see if Slave of Gods and Shepherd can stay safe from that one, and it looks like they won't have any trouble. So it will be Meteos just backing right up here to the blue. Skarner is almost forced to start with blue. He's a very mana-reliant jungler, having to use that Q to just consistently try and clear out camps, since his basic attacks don't do too much, and his kit is mostly around dealing sustained damage using a combination of his auto attacks and abilities. In tandem, his passive does reduce his cooldowns for every auto attack against a minion, and that cooldown is doubled against champions. So it does allow him to get some pretty consistent damage as well as gank, as long as he goes back to his jungle in between. But here he'll start on the bottom side of the map. It will allow him to get up top if he needs to counter gank or potentially fend off an invade. But Skarner isn't likely to invade much before level 6, although he does have a pretty good consistent slow coming out from the Crystal Slash. He's strongest when he gets the Impale, his ultimate, which suppresses someone and allows him to drag them around. I feel like the top lane will be a mostly boring lane. Mundo is typically considered a non-interactive top laner since he just looks to farm up for a late game, but Poppy has a very similar style, a very mana-hungry champion. Won't be able to trade too effectively, and so if Raiden7 can get off many cleavers, he might be in a pretty good spot, but he just doesn't quite have the tools he needs to finish off someone. And with a Nasus jungle, I really feel like this lane is going to be pretty simple, unless Benign Sentinel can get some early burst damage and potentially combo it with a burst from Skarner. Raiden7's actually going in for a good trade. Pops his mask and takes a lot of damage. The Ignite is down on the Raiden7. He's looking to run away from this one. Benign Sentinel flashes in, and Meteos comes in from the side. Benign Sentinel grabs the kill alone. And in the bottom lane, a First Blood went down alongside. Let's just rewind a little bit to see exactly what happened there. Slave of Gods gets close in, but Dimitri and Organism able to finish him off. Now Organism with the Ignite down and then falls solo. Glitterlance connects. The auto attacks come through, but Organism is able to escape right off the side. Now Shepherd caught up in a pretty rough spot from Dimitri. I suspect he'll land it because we saw it before, but there's a rocket grab. Shepherd popped up, flashes in for the Glitterlance, but Organism manages to grab out the kill. Tries to Arcane Shift for the dodge, but he doesn't need it. A lot of aggression coming out all across this map, but it's all there in the Robbers' favor. An early lead to the red team, about 1,400 gold in their favor. So this is definitely a scary spot for the Cops to be in. They do have a solid late game with a Mundo and a Nasus, and if Draven can get some early kills and get the gold from that League of Draven passive, it could turn it. Chapanya throws down the slow on the Meteos, throws a stun as well, and has to flash away. Xerath does have a brand new kit right now, and for those of you who are unfamiliar with it, I'll go ahead and introduce his new abilities. His Q is still Arcano Pulse, but it is an ability that charges up to a max range. Does the same amount of damage no matter how long you've charged it, but the range increases, and it does slow him increasingly as it increases in range. Eye of Destruction is kind of similar to his old ultimate, or I guess similar to his old Mage Chains. It just, it's actually a skill shot, but it's a circle, and it is used for his, a little bit of crowd control. It's definitely a new interesting kit. Shocking Orb fires an orb of raw magic that stuns someone between 0.75 and 2 seconds, depending on how far away they are. And so it's a nice little skill shot stun, and then his ult, Rite of the Arcane, is a combination of his former Locus of Power and his ultimate, which allows him to siege from a range. Oh, now Evaniscus could get caught up a little bit here. He's falling low, but the rocket grab from Dimitri A missed, and now Dimitri A is low on health. There's no finish there from Slave of Gods, who has to run away from Meteos. He turns back around for a lot of damage. The Glitterlance connects as well, and with Shifter running down here, He's going to miss that orb, not land the stun, and everyone's going to back off of here. No kills falling. The cops have returned a little bit of the gold, just a couple of hundred, but every little piece matters. Coming in here to the level 6s where fights can break out and where a major item like a BF sword or potentially an Athene's Unholy Grail on the mid laners could really make for an effective fight. Slave of Gods is going to keep on stacking up those adoration stacks, looking to catch them in soon. Hasn't been able to grab it yet, but if he takes it now, he is currently sitting on 71 stacks, which will be a solid amount of gold in his pocket. Oh, Dimitri A flashes in, and they might look to shut him down before he gets the stack of that. He gets knocked up there by the Power Fist. He's still running away, and Organism missing that Mystic Shot won't be able to continue on there. Slave Gods will stay safe. He has to be careful, but he is equal in farm to Ezreal, so that's at least one little saving grace here. Meteos might look for some continuing harass in the bot, though. They don't spawn out with a ward, but they do play carefully. X-Shepherd going to spot him out. And Dimitri A doesn't have his flash up for a flash grab, and so Slave of Gods will be safe here for now. One minor issue with the Nasus jungle is just that he has pretty awful ganks. He can counter gank with the Wither, but oh, the rocket grab almost missed there from Dimitri. That was rather close. But that Nasus really can't do too much besides farm up his jungle until he gets later on where he can just, essentially walk up to a turret and take it down in a couple of shots. But right now, he really won't be too much of a presence in this game. Most likely going to look for the Spirit of the Ancient Golem and tank up as much as possible while the rest of his team does a significant amount of damage. When you have a Draven on it, you can typically rely on him for most of your attack damage. Organism left to CS here alone, doing a fair job of racking up those creep kills, especially allowing Dimitri A to back up to buy that Ancient Coin on top of the Ruby Crystal for some health, for some gold generation, and for eventually picking up that Talisman of Ascension, which will really help him get in there to land a rocket grab and allow the rest of his team the movement speed to follow up and get right in there. Right now, Organism's doing a pretty good job of actually zoning Slave of Gods off here, especially due to that earlier damage. He's just looking to sustain it up and to stay safe, continuing to farm up here, but really needs a kill to get back in there. Peckinwolf taking a good amount of damage from Shifter there. He's going to back off a little bit. The Arcano Pulse not connecting there is going to be... the Arcano Pulse is definitely a huge part of Xerath's wave clear, of his ability to shove out a lane. That a nice stun does stop Meteos in his tracks, though, grabbing pretty much the max duration, since the stun duration does increase with range. And so Shifter will just look to continue farming up here, clearing it out. He is a little bit behind on farm, especially due to his earlier roam to the bot lane where he wasn't able to find anything. And so that will be Peckinwolf with a good amount of gold early on, buying up that Chalice of Harmony, going to go for the Athene's Unholy Grail, and that'll allow him to continuously rain out spears even into the late game after he's picked up some aggressive items like potentially Arbaden's Death Cap and a Void Staff. Meteos might be coming in here for the Jungle Invade. Skarner, another one of those champions that recently got a bit of a rework. His Crystal Slash no longer slows, and instead gives him a stacking attack speed buff every time he uses that, which allows him to do some consistent damage, but definitely gets rid of the issue from before where he could spiral out of control if he was a little bit too strong. I'm just going to rewind a little bit here so we can see exactly what happens up in the top lane. And Benign Sentinel goes in very hard with the ult. Benign Sentinel is able to flash out of there, and the turret doesn't finish him off. And with that Lollipop skin, he will be coming up pretty sweet in the top lane. 2-0 over Raiden7, who's had a bit of a rough time, but hopefully he can bring it back. He does have a solid late game, but so does Poppy. And it might be a little scary to allow her a couple kills early on. Oh, Organism falls low here in the bottom lane. Has to be careful about Slave of Gods, who has used his Whirling Death, so there's not that for the potential finish. Meteos comes in here. He uses that speed buff. Slave of Gods throws down the Spinning Axe, but Organism comes in with the ultimate, with the Mystic Shot, and finishes off Slave of Gods for a nice kill. Well played to Meteos there for slipping in for a nice gank, and that will give them yet another kill up on the board. 5-0 over the Cops. Robbers coming out rather strong, now going to look to move on to the Dragon to continue their gold advantage here. They're up about 2,000, but it'll bring it up to almost a full 3,000 after they finish him off. And Meteos is going to deal some consistent damage, consistently spamming out that... Oh, Chapanya throws his ultimate, and look at the new range on those Xerath abilities. Able to grab the double kill there with the Arcane Pulse after the Wither from Support Daddy. And Shifter really showing off the strengths of that new Xerath. That ultimate has such an impressive range. The projectile is a lobbing similar to Corky's updated Phosphorus Bomb. But you saw how quickly it could finish off someone like Dimitri A there. The Wither goes down to Peckenwolf just to keep him from clearing out the wave too fast, as Shifter and Support Daddy do look to chip down on this turret. And I call him Support Daddy because he says he's really fine with either Support Daddy or Evanescus. He doesn't have much of a preference. But 9 Sentinel falls pretty low up here in the top lane, and without a Sadism, Raiden 7 is unlikely to dive in there, especially due to Poppy's passive, which decreases all damage that would deal more than 10% of her current health by half. And so look at that, the Cleaver really not doing too much since a lot of that damage is taken out by her passive. We'll see how well it can keep her alive, but until he gets that Sadism, I really don't expect Raiden 7 to dive in there, especially with the heroic charge from Poppy, able to stun someone up underneath the turret. Oh, Organism gets blown up in the bottom lane. Slave of God's coming out huge there. Cannot stick on any longer. Now Meteos is up in the top lane to help push out. Raiden 7 has backed off a little bit, does have his ult, so he shouldn't be in too much danger unless Meteos can grab him up with that Impale and keep him locked up for a little bit too long. Chapanya just continuously throwing his skills there in the mid. Trying to farm up, trying to zone out Peckenwolf, but he is rather behind in CS. Oh, Shifter have to be careful. He flashes away there. Meteos with his mere presence, forcing the F key there out of Shifter. And Peckenwolf playing this lane very well. Although he's taking some damage, he's dishing out a lot in return. And Shifter has to be careful about falling too far behind here in terms of CS. The bottom tower falls low, and that will be the first one of the game to drop. And the Robbers won't be able to respond. So the Cops coming up with a bit of global gold for themselves, along with those kills, will now be only within about 600. So a rather close game between the Cops and the Robbers, which means that it can be anyone's game here. Guitar, the manager of Evil Geniuses, says that he prefers Sperm Mom 840, which was his previous name, and so hey, we can call him whatever he wants. He'll always be Evanescus in my heart, though. Dimitri coming in for the gank on the Shifter. He does get stunned up there and takes a lot of damage in return as Support Daddy does run in here. He gets rocket grabbed up, but that's just a gap closer for him. He does back up a little bit here. He's playing rather carefully. Peckenwolf now going in back aggressively. The exhaust lands on the Dimitri A, and he's able to dodge out of, or lands on the Shifter as Dimitri A tries to avoid that ult from Xerath. Peckenwolf now dodging out of the Whirling Death. Dimitri A not going to be caught up from that either, as the Robbers do come out strong on that one. Support Daddy has to be careful about those javelins, but so does Peckenwolf with his placement. Slave of Gods trying to run in there, but the pounce and the movement speed out of the bushes is a little bit too much for Nidalee's escape. And X-Shepherd won't be able to chase on there any longer. Slave of God's looking to do his best to farm up here, potentially move on to the second turret after having taken the one in the bottom lane. Raiden 7 just keeps on keeping on. Going for the Spirit Visage for his first item will make his ultimate a bit more effective, as well as his passive sustain, and does actually help with a lot of Poppy's damage. The brunt of the damage, the devastating blow from the Q, it does deal damage scaling on your attack damage, but it deals it in magic, which will help Raiden 7 be able to trade on. And with that turret shot, he's actually doing rather well here. His Sadism isn't up, but it will be soon. However, Meteos might be in here for a bit of the assist. Raiden 7 goes in, but he goes way too low, but 9 Sentinel is able to heroic charge him out, and Meteos is there for the cleanup. Now with 3 members of the Robbers up here and no one to defend this turret, this should be a first one falling for this red team, and a good amount of gold there. X-Shepherd falling low here to the Javelin Toss. Peckenwolf continuing in there, with the pounce, but X Shepherd has a nice knock up there, gets grabbed back in, flashes out. Now Peckenwolf and Dimitri look to be on the retreat. There's the Arcano Pulse landing across the Wither. Is down onto Blitzcrank. Support Daddy throws his Fury of the Sands. Is able to find the kill, but Peckenwolf jumps over the wall and grabs his own on the Xerath. Peckenwolf is able to pounce over the wall and escape from Support Daddy here, who can't chase on. Doesn't choose to flash over the wall since he knew Meteos was right over the side with that Impale. Peckenwolf takes a turret shot to the side, but isn't going to go down anytime soon. Peckenwolf has to be careful. Evaniscus does have his flash, but with the consistent heals, Peckenwolf will stay alive for now. Now, Support Daddy might be the one who has to be careful. Meteos comes in here. He's going to look to land the slow from his E. There it is, going right onto him. He still has his flash of the wall here. Peckenwolf is going to have to back out of that one. Meteos not finding the opportunity for the Impale. X Shepherd looks to defend up at this solo, and the rocket grab doesn't land, which means that he will have a little bit of time to farm, but really this isn't the most appropriate setup here, with Lulu taking a nice spot of damage from the javelin throw. Now with Dimitri A moving up with aggressive position, he'll be able to zone out Shifter from really staying up too close to these waves. Luckily, he does have the Arcano Pulse for some nice consistent wave clear. Benign Sentinel just going to continue farming up here. This top lane is staying really even in terms of CS. However, Raiden7 has died 3 times, which is going to be more than his team can afford after falling about 2,000 below in the gold count. And without Evaniscus really being able to lock up those objectives around the map without really being able to force away those turrets or contest the dragon, it's going to be a pretty rough spot for the Cops to be in. Slave of Gods looks to defend up this turret alone, wants to find some spinning axes on the Organism, but he has to be so careful of the rocket grab from Dimitri A. He goes in hard on the Organism, throws the stand aside, and look at the damage Organism is taking. He has to flash away there from the Whirling Death. The rest of the Cops are in here, but they're going to be answered by Peckenwolf and Meteos. The rocket grab lands on X Shepherd. Slave of Gods did manage to grab the kill there onto Ezreal. He's going to now come around the side, but Support Daddy will fall low. Shifter comes in here, throws in the ult, and Slave of Gods lands a double kill. Gonna look for the triple kill. He doesn't have the red buff anymore, but he has that attack. He has a movement speed buff. He doesn't have a spinning axis. Peckenwolf going to grab the movement speed through here. Chapanya flashes through, but misses both of his skill shots. Fuck, man, he's too tanky. Meteos now falls low. That's going to be the Arcano Pulse landing. And actually a really solid play here from the Cops, able to bring themselves up to about within 1,000 gold. X Shepherd almost falling there to the Javelin Toss. And in the top lane, Mundo has unfortunately met his demise once again. If you didn't understand the swear word I said earlier, it was a reference to Xpeke's stream, and I don't mean to offend anyone with my language. It was just, you know, sometimes it can be difficult to land Xerath's abilities, and you can back off a little bit prematurely, but he was able to find a good amount there. Now 3-2-2 on Xerath. Going to come up pretty strong here, checking up all of the traps, going to deny that vision later on. And with the Athens and Holy Grail on both these mid laners, they're going to look for the consistent sustained bombardment. The difference between the two, however, being that Xerath has a lot more area of effect, but is also a lot more vulnerable. Nidalee has the heal to keep herself alive, as well as the pounce to escape. Slave of Gods might not be so lucky, though. There's the flash, knock up, and with the ultimate coming in, Organism's able to grab the shutdown there onto Drave, and X Shepherd not going to be too lucky either. Organism grabbing up the double kill with his auto attacks and finishing off the turret immediately after. That's a solid 250 gold from the turret on top of those kills, and let's look at how rich he is now. 7,300 total. That's the most on the map, and Ezreal will come out rather strong. I believe Meteos was able to grab the kill on the Shifter in the jungle. I wasn't exactly sure of the circumstances behind that. Raiden7 going to try and defend up this mid, but he's struggling a little bit against Peckenwolf, who is on point with the Javelins. And now, after killing Slave of Gods and Shifter, they will be able to dismantle this third turret for their side, the bottom inner, and the Robbers really starting to rack up an advantage. 5,000 in the lead in terms of gold, and now even more in terms of turrets. That is the 4th one taken down here, 6th of the game. And that will leave a 600 gold advantage here on the side of the Robbers. You know, you say crime never pays, but it sure looks like it's giving them a good spot of gold to come into this mid game here. Trinity Force already finished on Ezreal. Blade of the Ruined King on Poppy to allow him to push on. Meteos does smite away that dragon, not allowing Lulu to steal anything away with the Glitter Lance. Benign Sentinel will continue on in this top lane. Let's see if Raiden 7 can defend this. He's had some trouble before. And I don't know that he's going to get too much stronger against Benign Sentinel. That's actually a really good trade for him. This consistent damage from his Burning Agony doing work there. But Benign Sentinel pops the ultimate. Flashes in here after Raiden 7, who's so low, but he has his Sadism ultimate. He's getting the regeneration. He's going to try and look for the kill here. He has Shifter coming up from the side. Benign Sentinel's coming in here with the devastating blows, but look at all the minion damage. He has to try and run away from this one. Shafanya misses the ultimate. Oh no, he missed the stun. The ultimate comes across, but Poppy's able to put on his juke boots for all three of those. Whirling Death comes across here, but he's saying, throw more at me, noob. Send the goon squad. I'm out of here. As Poppy does retreat, has a good amount of gold in his pocket, 1300, will be able to continue building up more parts of that Trinity Force, and with a Trinity Blade of the Ruined King combo, will really come out with a lot of damage here. Ezreal building up a solid amount as Support Daddy is grabbed in. Beckenwolf's not going to go in here. He has a little bit tastier prey here. Javelin landing on the X-Shepherd, who does throw his own wild growth. Meteos follows in here. Impales X-Shepherd, brings him right in the range for a Javelin Toss. Some good synergy between those two champions. Now Beckenwolf might be the one who's caught out a little bit. Meteos stood aside and is going to try and buy enough time for Beckenwolf, but I'm not sure he'll be able to. That Wither down on the Nidalee really doing work on his movement speed. Slave of Gods just throwing down the auto attacks to try and get the refresh on his Blood Rush. Beckenwolf trying to run away is slowed, but I think he'll be able to escape there with the pounce. Now Dimitri A could be caught up in a rough spot. Raiden 7 falls low, and with the True Shot Barrage, Benign Sentinel is able to grab it out with the last tick of Ignite. With the remainder of the cops, or of the Robbers here chasing down, cops are going to have to make a full retreat. The Robbers are able to stay above here, now 7,000 in the lead. Oh, Organism falls so low, but he is able to just Arcane Shift out of here consistently. Slave of Gods has to be careful, he flashes in there. He has the consistent spinning axes, and that's actually a Shifter able to grab the double kill with his ultimate. The huge range on that. Oh my goodness, he ulted from all the way over here, and that is an aspect of the new Xerath that I was previously unaware of. Able to grab out the double kill there from behind the 3-point line, that's for sure. This has certainly been a very aggressive game. 26 kills in 23 minutes. Not the most we've seen for sure. But with these gold totals starting to near up to you know, closer to 50,000, we're really getting closer into our late game. And once these champions hit their rank 3 ultimates, get up to their max level, we're going to really see who can come out ahead in a team fight scenario. There's so much lockdown here on the Robbers side without a lot of really guaranteed CC for the cops. They don't have the strength coming out from that Impale, from the Rocket Grab, knock up, the stun from Poppy's Heroic Charge, and that could all really pay into their favor to lock down the key targets, like Shifter raining down Havoc from the back lines, like Slave of Gods trying to get in there with the spinning axes. And so if Meteos can predict where the spinning axes are going to land, can use that movement speed to chase down onto on the Slave of Gods there, that could really eliminate the majority of the attack damage here for the cop side. Now Dimitri A just going to look for the rocket grab. He actually catches on the X-Shepherd there, who won't be long for this world. There's the Javelin and the Mystic Shot for the quick kill. Beckenwolf is unstoppable here with some consistent hell raining down from behind. Support Daddy decides to run in here. He does pop the Fury of the Sands. A nice whirling death comes through, and Raiden 7 is looking for the dive, but Beckenwolf up from behind is going to stop the retreat. Slave of Gods tries to turn around, but doesn't quite have the damage. A double kill for Poppy, as well as yet another kill for Beckenwolf. Going to open up the Baron here for the Robbers as they systematically dismantle the entire side of the cops. After picking up all of those kills, this will be an easy Baron. This will be a nice 10,000 gold advantage. And this is really looking like a solid game for the Robbers, not losing a single person in that entire 5-for-0 ace. Really well played here. They will now easily be able to fall back, buy up a little bit, Ezreal with the Trinity Force Blade of the Ruined King going to copy up Poppy's build just a little bit there and get a little bit closer to his last whisper. There we go, Peckinwhip. Second time's a charm jumping over that wall, and he'll look to grab that blue buff. And man, the amount of sustained damage from this Nidalee here will just be ridiculous. He has the cooldown reduction and mana regeneration from not only an Athene's, but from a blue buff as well, and that Rabadon's Death Cap going to really make the javelins hurt. Xerath has had a small problem dying so far. He has picked up a Meteos Crucible, which will not only help to save Shifter, but might help to save himself as well, since he has been grabbed in pretty consistently from Dimitri. It looks like Slave of Gods is building what he needs to really turn this around. He does have his last whisper there for the late game. He's now going to look and see how well it can do on the Poppy here, who is running away. Benign Sentinel slowed up by the Cleaver. Raiden7 tries to chase on here, but the rest of the robbers are closing, and Raiden7 bursts down so quickly from Benign Sentinel. Slave of Gods can't continue on because the rest of his team is under onslaught. Support Daddy here in the middle of 4. The knockup from the Wild Growth will be able to keep him alive for slightly longer. Whirling Death, and the Siege comes from around, but Benign Sentinel can sustain that up. That's his passive. That is the power of the Poppy. Dimitri falls low, and Shifter is able to grab the kill, but Slave of the Gods will fall down immediately after Shifter. Grabbed up by another Javelin in the flash. Heroic charge from Benign Sentinel will grab up the second ace, and with the Baron buff on him, they will be able to sustain up and take down this mid-inner turret. This is looking like the Robbers' game to lose. They have 12,000 in the advantage, have a pretty much open board to push on here. Raiden7, the only one alive, doesn't have too many items to his name, only a Warden's Mail and a Spirit Visage. And the 070 Mundo won't be able to defend this up against 4 members, of course. They will take down this inhibitor and really put themselves in a solid spot to close out the game soon enough. Their Baron buff will wear out soon enough, but that's not really too much of an issue. Even though they might lose a couple thousand of stats on the Baron, they can buy a couple thousand with the huge lead they have. 15,000 now in favor of the red team. We can see the huge gold totals. Peckinwhip about 2,500 over his lane opponent. Chapanya will grab that Arcano Post. Shifter really on point with the Xerath, but he is falling prey to Nidalee's Javelins, which are really taking out his health bar quickly. Meteos solos up the Dragon here for yet another good spot of gold. The Dragon is consistently leveling up here and giving out more and more gold to either team who takes it. At this point, it's pretty much going to be the Robber's source of income, a bit of a banking system where, you know, you right-click, receive money. Support Daddy tries to run here, throws the Wither down on the Organism, but that won't stop his damage output too much, and now Evaniscus will be there in the middle of the enemy team. The Wild Growth does actually force up Dimitri and will slow him down in time for Support Daddy to grab him up. He'll now continue on with the Wither, but he's falling low to that poke from both Nidalee and Ezreal. Organism and Peckinwhip really powerful at peeling off a fight here. Benign Sentinel pushing up in this mid-inner turret. In the meantime, Raiden7 not able to defend that up, and he is not having a very good game. I feel pretty bad as he gets dove once again by Benign Sentinel. At least his team is there for the defense. Javelin not connecting there will allow Raiden7 to live for now, but Meteos flashing in for the Impale will prove a less fortunate fate for Shifter. Meteos is falling rather low to Slave of God's auto attacks, but he's so tanky with his armor. Slave of Gods won't be able to continue on here now. Benign Sentinel dives in here, flashes in for the last auto attack. Support Daddy tries to run in here, throws down the Spirit Fire, but will fall to the auto attack from Organism, and this looks like it might be the game here for the Robbers. The Javelin finds yet another kill, a legendary Peckinwhip 9-0 and 6. Looking to close out this game here in under 30 minutes, and with both Nexus turrets falling, that will be the Robbers claiming a decisive victory there with a 20,000 gold lead and a whole lot of kills under their belt. Peckinwhip trying to grab up yet another on the Raiden7, but he will not fall before their Nexus explodes at 29 minutes and 17 seconds. Congratulations to the Robbers, to the team of Peckinwhip, C9 Meteos, Organism, Dimitri, and Benign Sentinel. That was a whole lot of fun, and thank you all for watching.